What do we talk about when talking about racism? It is defined as prejudice or discrimination directed against a certain person on the basis of their membership in a particular ethnic or racial group. So, in that case, the general perspective on racism seems clear. Never disrespect another based on the color of their skin. But is it actually that simple? The definition is correct, yes, yet the discussion held within much of modern America is more so one of attempting to not confront its shameful past. Emerging from this statement is Jordan Peele's 2017 film Get Out, a direct provocation and satirical perspective on suburban racism. Unlike its horror predecessors, Get Out constantly plays with genre tropes and subtly diverts them. Though there have been films such as Scream that have created unique twists in a genre, Get Out has essentially brought to light a new and unfamiliar look at horror through the protagonist's race as a black person. The film's story is quite simple. Chris and his girlfriend Rose plan a trip to visit her parents' estate, as they have reached the meet the parents milestone in dating. It's what Jordan Peele describes as a universal story where if you take the race out of the story, the common fear of meeting your potential in-laws remains. So by keeping the story in a generally familiar sphere, the fear becomes glaring and imminent, as Chris has to spend time with the presence of solely white people around him. Throughout the film, the forced attempts to try and appeal to Chris are apparent. It comes off as very foolish, yet it effectively takes off a burden for the audience. While we might have expected to be a situation where the relationship will be directly opposed, the parents seem to actually admire and respect Chris, although it might come off as forceful from lines uttered by the parents such as,
By the way, I would have voted for Obama for a third term if I could. Best president in my lifetime, hands down. So how long has this been going on, this thing?
in a way, while the victim of the story could be obvious, the film does a meticulous job in hiding the elements that will come to fruition. Through the hidden guise placed upon the entirety of the situation, Chris remains woke. The film literally opens with the refrain of Childish Gambino's Redbone, "Stay woke." He is able to make decisions for himself and withstands the racial anxieties that he understands is a part of his life. His occupation as a photographer, for one, is probably the subtlest form of gaining insight on the significance of the gaze in relation to power. Though it be through the lens of Chris's camera, or the looks given to Chris during the auction scene, the act of staring is, as Bell Hooks describes, as confrontational as gestures to resistance, challenges to authority. The people gathered at the auction, as well as Rose's parents, gaze at Chris in a manner that carries domination, rather than genuine empathy. Fast forwarding to the scene where Chris is strapped to a chair getting prepped for his eventual fate, he is placed in front of a television. His placement is hauntingly intentional, as Bell Hooks writes that, when most black people in the United States first had the opportunity to look at film and television, they were fully aware that mass media was a system of knowledge and power producing and maintaining white supremacy. To stare at the television, or mainstream movies, to engage its images, was to engage its negation of black representation. It's almost as if director Jordan Peele is showing that the shameful history of America has always existed and will always remain in the crevices of society. The scene, along with the misguided admiration expressed towards black people throughout the entirety of the film, act as a testament to American society, one where we believe that if its history is constantly buried and forgotten, the focus on inevitable progression towards racial equality will fix our problems. Get Out is one of the most impressive debut films by any filmmaker I've seen. Its screenplay is so intricately written, and every consecutive rewatch uncovers subtle hints about the upcoming events. As a film that discusses casual racism through a satiric lens, it does so without feeling overbearing, as Jordan Peele's dark and sly humor creates a cathartic reaction along with the more darker scenes. But as Get Out concludes, what lingers rather than some of the laughs or scares is that the audience will have experienced something divided in a divided time, which was an examination of the black experience.